And top of the morning to you. Hey, I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Roo. If you haven't figured that out by now, it's because the last name is Hahn. It's German. It means rooster. Some say proud rooster. I think the rooster is the farm bard. He's the poet. He's the farm poet. He stands on the barn and he goes, "Good morning to you." I got to tell you, the rooster in oh my gosh, tell me the movie. Beatrix Potter in Peter Rabbit, the rooster in Peter Rabbit who's walking back and forth. Oh no, I think that's kind of what roosters are to me. They have been the Chanticleer. They have been the farm alarm. They have been the troubadour, the maestro, the director, the poet since the dawn of time. They're on top of churches. They're on top of barns, especially in Europe. They're on top of churches. They've been in biblical history. Throughout the years, there's been foghorn leghorn. I see. On and on and on. We have cartoon roosters. Excuse me. I shouldn't have done that. Try not to do foghorn leghorn before 9 o'clock. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock now. I can do it. I see. But they're the troubadours. So by the time I had my guitar, I mean, even the Disney version of Robin Hood, the troubadour was a rooster, Robin Hood, Little John, walking through the forest. That was Roger Miller who wrote all that stuff. He was a poet, songwriter. So, there is this ego thing that I had, still maybe have it, I don't know. But the point is that I saw myself as a songwriter, a poet, a storyteller. And so when I found out as a young man, a married man actually, in my teens, I heard about it much, but it wasn't until I was married and Carol started talking about family histories. And I go, I don't know. She says, well, did your family get together on holidays? And I go, what the heck for? She goes, no. Didn't they come together for, like, all our family loaded up the covered station wagon and went west to West Tennessee, and all the relatives sat around and they told stories. And I go, no, I that was every day when I got off the school bus. There were people in my backyard telling the story. So I didn't need to see them on holidays. I needed to break from them. But basically, I found out that we were all storytellers. We're all troubadours. And that's what happens to my art. I hope that's what's happening to some of your art. Art that finds its way to walls has something to proclaim. Someone connects with it. Someone understands it. Something in it is renewable and valuable to share. It's shareable. It just isn't hey, got this thing here. Look, it looks like an eraser. Yeah, but it erases anger. Ooh, I'll take one. So you see what I'm saying? So that's where the rooster comes in. Man, some mornings I just get on my soapbox, huh? Apple box is probably what I had. I didn't really have soap boxes. We ate soap. Okay, here we go. Let's take off. Jennifer Yentz, thanks for being on the show. Karen Binder, thank you for being here. Renee Keese, Renee, good artist. Love to have you on the show. Bob from the cornfields of Iowa. Morning from the so very thankful cornfields of Iowa. Man, what a way to land the plane. Get it right off. Just 2 days shy of the day when our country has said, we'll give you a holiday for being thankful. Hey, just be thankful every day. But on this day, if you get friends and family together, celebrate them, okay? Work hard at smiling. Let all that other stuff that the people knick-knack, paddywhack, give the dog a let me be right bone, get over that and just enjoy each other's company. Remember the good things. Tell the good stories. Be thankful. Be thankful. Gives me an idea here. I need to write that down. Hold on just a second here. Every now and then I have an idea that I should write down. Okay, I don't know if I'll remember it and go back to it, but there it is. Here's a look at the desk this morning, then I'll say hello. Boom, there it is right there. I've got some Fluid 100 paper up on the desk. I love Fluid 100. It's 100% cotton. It's a little less coarse than Kilimanjaro. So if you're struggling to go to Kilimanjaro and you love Kilimanjaro, this is 140 pound cold press but it's not as there's not the facets aren't as raised as the rag cotton. There's a difference. Cold press and then there's cold press rag cotton. Rag cotton's a little harder to paint on. Once you get used to it, you love it. I think you will stick with a lot of your paintings on it. I do. But this is great, great paper. This is the Fluid 100 model. I get this from Cheap Joe's also. There's other places you can find it. They feel like they're part of my extended family on the show. And there's Fluid watercolor. Fluid is also 110 hot press, but it's not 100% cotton. This is. This paints just as well. In fact, I'll probably paint something on this morning. Let me take a sheet off here. Just get this little tool out because it keeps me from getting my pocket knife out of my pocket. There we go. There's a sheet of that. Just get up. Most people keep it on here, but I'm not most people. I like to move it and twist it around. Plus, I'll just lay it out here. In fact, I think I ripped a sheet of this out already. Boom. So there it is. Just so you know what paper I'm using. And this is a half sheet of this. Now, why would I do that? Well, I don't even cut it. I just fold it over and go rip, and I'll get a little ripped edge. Some people like ripped edge. Some people are going to frame that in. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's one of those mornings. Look to get interrupted today because my brain is just firing 1,000 miles an hour. Let me go to picture here so you can hear me, see me, talk me. So thankful for the cornfields of Iowa, Bob. Thanks, Sally Ann Smith. Love to have you on the show. Patricia Hazel, yes, from Frosty, St. Louis. Frosty, St. Louis. Linda Lindhart, thanks for being on the show. Donna Sell Barton, the Rube Goldberg painter from a way back. Virginia Mann, welcome. Kathy Morrow, Barbara Mayer, Linda Schleitning. June Jones says, good morning. We have glorious sunshine in the state of Florida. Sunshine State, of course, that would be. They call it Florida. Lived there for 12 years. I get it. Trish Brown, welcome. Beverly Schmidt. Beverly, I think, is in Greenville. Nancy Catlett. Nancy, I hope you got your painting by now. Karen Pikert. Happy Thanksgiving, Ruse. No kidding, you know. Jim and Jason, thank you for being on the show. Snow is on the ground. Ooh. Rhonda D. Hart. Yep, from Faith. Deborah Spangler, thanks for being on the show. Patricia Lane Evans, I know you're in New Hampshire. B. Areola. People are putting out an APB on Pat. One day without emojis and they're missing you, Pat. So there's your Pat's trademark. That you can find their house if you drive through the neighborhood. It's just got a big emoji over it that's pointing down. I love it. Denise Albright, thanks for being on Ruse Day. Mickey Hupp, welcome to the show. Lisa, boy, this is a hard name for me to say. If I were in kindergarten and the teacher asked me to stand up and say, could you say Patrissor, maybe, from Ontario. It's. I want to know what your name means. Send me a note someday and say, here, my name means this. And forgive me for butcher. There she is right there, ladies and gentlemen. Pat Brooks is on the show. Melina Phillips, thanks for being on the show. And Westra, Rander Taylor Craven, Annette Henslin. Sheila Nelson is already awake from out on Bainbridge Island, way out there. You know, if you're on Bainbridge Island, you just keep walking, you walk right off into the ocean. That's because she's on an island. TikTok Jones, good morning to you. Debbie Bennett, I'm here. June. Jan, here's a name that I haven't seen on the show very often, so I'm just going to say hello to you. It's Jan Galloni, Galloni. Welcome to the show. Maybe I skip over names because sometimes I'll turn and won't see who comes up. They get scrolled in. So Jan, if you're new to Roodoodles, welcome to the show. I'll tell you what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a drawing. Let me do that right here too. Drawing, D-R-A. Not a painting, but a drawing for something free. How about two brushes, two bamboo brushes. I was watching a painting show last night, just had a few minutes to kill after Carol and I got back from, delivered the big cross yesterday to the church. They loved it. The guy who's one of the maintenance superintendent for the church, he looks at the thing and he goes, where are we going to put this? And I said, I don't think you paid me, nor did you ask me to drive it all the way up here to hang it in the parking lot in a tree somewhere. So I think it's going to go inside the building. He goes, You know, I can see it in his face. He's going like, welcome to the world of like, we just gave you, somebody else had an idea, and now you got to figure it out. But I put him at ease. I said, let's take a walk around. I'll show you how you can put this in. And he didn't know that I was a stage rigger, and I had all those experiences too. A 1 and a 3 bamboo. So I'm watching this painting show we got back last night. And the Asian artist, Japanese, no, he was a Chinese guy, Chinese artist brushes. He had and he called it something. I'm going to look it up. It was a rig that was a stand-up piece that hung all his brushes like this. That's what these little hooks are for on the end. People say, what's that for? And I'll say, oh, that's so when you're on the telephone, you can swing them around like this. Not really. It really is to hang them up so that the bristles of the Japanese brushes, or the bamboo brushes, China brushes, whichever you want to call them, so they hang down like this, and it keeps the ends from fraying out too much, and it lets them continue their sharp point. Why is that important? Because most of those women and men apprenticed in calligraphy, and so they needed those quick little sharp tips to do that. I don't worry about as much using them for watercolor because I just like them to go kind of wacko. It doesn't bother me, and they'll shape up anyway. Take a look. You see that one was all fuzzy like this one. Okay, so after I wet it, take a look at it now. See the difference? Boom. Comes back into its point. This is really a good brush to paint with if you're moving a lot of water, if you're moving a lot of pigment. You'll love it. The 1 and the 3 are Yasutoma brushes, and Phoebe Lee out in Torrance, California, they send these in through Cheap Joe's, and Cheap Joe's sells these brushes. They send them in there. These I've worn the logo off of, but here's one you might can see. All-purpose Yasutoma, says it right there. Yasutoma, Y-A-S-U-T-O-M-O, Yasutoma, China brush. You get a 1 and a 3, and I'm going to draw a name in a little bit, and I'll have that, okay? So thanks for being on the show, Pat Thompson, Denise Albright. All right, here we go. I'm going to jump ahead here. Lisa Ferreira, Chris Whitaker, thanks for being on the show. Happy Thanksgiving from Blountsville, Alabama. Blountsville. Scott. Wow, Scott led us on the show. Good job. Saw the quote before I saw your name. Boy, it's raining on Bainbridge Island, so you wouldn't even have to jump in the ocean to get wet today. Skeeter Pal. Mine means I'm always late. There's a Skeeter pops up. Skeeter runs at Skeeter's own time. Skeeter is on his own time. Ever had one of those lost sock mornings? Yes. Stephen Wright, the old comic, one time, that was one of his stand-up bits. He'd call information, you go, this is information. Remember when you could call information? He goes, hey, have you seen my sock? She said, it's under the sofa. I thought that was fantastic. Chip Fur, the blue hues in the ocean. God's canvas. Chip Fur's at the beach this morning. Did a little sightseeing, exploratory. Lori Stanley Henderson, thank you for being on the show. Handel Meyer, I should have said. Chris Young, thank you. Are they the same ones as the Yasutoma? These are Yasutoma, even though they're not marked. These are Yasutoma brushes. Okay, they are made by they were put out originally by David Yasutoma, who came to this country bringing Asian art supplies in 1954. And he shipped everything over in these big crates. This is a true story from Yasutoma, who is now the U.S. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot their real name, but it's been purchased, but they're keeping all their historical facts intact with their supplies. They were the first people to ever, they're some of the first people that I ever know of who brought Asian art supplies, men who apprenticed for years to be good at ink and Sumi ink, and we use India ink, but Sumi ink, which is black ink, they did their calligraphy with that, and so these brushes are brilliant for that. David Yasutoma in 1954 started bringing these brushes into the country. And then here's the crazy thing that happened. He would ship snack cakes in those crates back to Japan. Don't you love that? I love it. And I always wanted to say, tell me it was moon pies because I'm in the South. I wouldn't know it was moon pies. But yes, these are Yasutoma brushes. I also get these from Yasutoma, but they're called Niji, N-I-J-I. These are water brushes. I keep a couple of these I keep one in my coat with my Altoid box of paints at all times. You never know when you're just going to have to break out a painting. And I also, but those are Yasutoma brushes, and that's what I'll be giving away, a 1 and a 3 all-purpose. There's a difference in some of the brushes. This is called the CC, and I don't know what that's for, and this is SW, and I don't know if it's just a skew, but this is all-purpose, and I use the all-purpose brushes, so you're going to get a 1 and a 3 when I draw that. All right, so it's 9:14, I'm still blabbing. Let's paint something. It's Christmas time. I want to put on some music, and Chris Young said she's trying to edit her comment. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. Steve, Bob, I figure you'd be a Stephen Wright fan. He also bought powdered water. He's the guy who said you drop a cat, it lands on its feet. If you drop toast, it lands butter side down. If you drop a cat, it lands on its feet. If you drop toast, it lands butter side down. So what happens if you tape the butter side toast onto the cat? All right. He just had that strange, it was strange, but I'm strange. So, hey, I've got brushes all over the place. What I was going to say before I rudely interrupted myself was that this artist last night I was watching had all his brushes hanging in front of him like this on these little pieces of pegs that came out. Like I have a brush hanging up here on the wall. Several of mine, I have a couple brushes that hang up here. And I will show you one. I'm just going to show you one. This is worth it. You see this brush right here? And you go, well, it looks just like the others. Not really. This brush is from the Yasutoma company. And for over 50 years, the family that made these brushes, the same family has made these brushes. And usually they say in a bamboo brush, an Asian brush, the hair is dark. It's probably the finer hair from the goat, okay? Some of the white hair you get into other furs or rabbits or other animals, but this is probably goat hair mixed in. This brush right here, which I keep hanging on the wall, is called the JB100, Japanese Brush 100. Hey, it doesn't mean they had to be creative in naming them. And I don't use it very often. I've only used it about 4 times. And the reason is that COVID went through the little village. True story here. COVID went through the little village where these people designed and have been making this brush for 50 years, and literally took the lives of 90% of the family who made these brushes, and so they don't know if they'll ever make them again. They just their lives has been disheveled. And so the folks in Yasutoma have treated them royally, and the folks, and just, I mean, it's, and have helped them, but they're trying to find someone else who can make this brush. And so because there's no more of these, there may be a few stockpiled in art stores here and there. I keep this one hung on the wall. It's it's a sad story, but at the same time, it makes me appreciate handmade things, and I'm hanging it back up there. I saw Yasutoma brushes on Amazon. I prefer to shop at an art store, but I get overwhelmed with the choices. Yeah, Chris, that can be difficult sometimes. And sometimes everything that's labeled on Amazon isn't what that it is. Make sure it could be just those brushes. They may sell on there. I don't know. I buy mine through reputable art stores. In this case, I buy them through Cheap Joe's Art Stuff, because Yasutoma, I've talked to them on the phone, and I know Cheap Joe's people, and they send their brushes right to them. And so when I pick up a Yasutoma brush, it's one from the company. And you know what? If you can wait on the mail that way, if you don't need it tomorrow, like Amazon, you probably get it for about the same price or cheaper, even if you're Prime. These brushes aren't outrageously expensive, but they're good. Okay. It's time to do a little painting. I've been on Christmas painting. Why not, right? It's close to Christmas. And so I'm going to put on some music, and I'm just going to paint a little Christmas thing. And something came to me this morning that I hadn't painted. I like to take things that I know how to paint and then add something a little different in. So I'm going to do that this morning. I'm using a pintail. I'll tell you, if I remember, I'll tell you about these. Look, they're new. Well, I'll finish it right now. CVS had 2 number 7 needlepoint. There they are right there. Okay, needlepoint, pintail inner gel number 0.7 needlepoint pintail. That's what I sketched with. Here it is, right here. Boom. Harris Teeter in Charlotte, and that little rack that has school supplies and stuff you might need, and tape, and a little, you just go through. There's that one shelf that has crayons, and the kids are going, I want something. I'm at the grocery store. They had these needlepoint. There it is, needlepoint inner gel pintail 05. Ta-da! Just have to look every now and then. Is that cool? All right, here we go. Let's see. This has got a spot on it, but so what? Let's just keep it right there. It could just be a spot in the ink. I thought of something that I hadn't painted, and I thought it might be fun to paint it. So this would be kind of fun if I do it here. Let's see if I can do this right here. I think this is going to be funny. A little bit of a Christmas painting here, huh? What do you think? Now let's see. We need something carrying this thing down to the earth. Oh, here we go. It's something I draw very often. Here it is, right here. When you do whimsical art, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to tell a fun story. And so there's this dragonfly, and he's flying in, he or she is flying in with this oversized Christmas light, and he's got to be taking it somewhere in my story. So let's see here. I think I want to sketch this with a fountain pen. In fact, I think I want to add a couple of fountain pen marks right in here and this here too. This just looks like a Christmas bulb. Hey, Christmas bulbs are different. If you're drawing Christmas bulbs this year, I just need some scrap paper up here on the desk. What's this? No, can't use that. Here we go. Here's a piece of mixed media paper. We'll use this scrap paper. Yeah, in fact, it's got stuff all over it anyway. Take a look at this right here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you're using scrap paper, take a look. If you're drawing a Christmas bulb this year, pay attention. Go out and get your Christmas bulbs. If you draw a chandelier bulb, it's going to look like this. That's a chandelier bulb, okay? It's got a skinny throat. It's got a little, that's how it goes into the fixture. Fixture's going to be here, and it's going to be, if you draw a Christmas bulb, it's going to have the fixture like this, and it's going to come out just a tad thicker. You're not going to see that neck. It's going to come down like this, and it doesn't even have a sharp point. So there's a difference. Not a big deal unless you're kind of a stickler for detail. This looks like it hangs over your kitchen table. This looks like it hangs on your tree. Okay, so they both start with T, but that'll give you an idea. So that's why I went out here like this, and I came in and I just let it go out like that. And then of course this would have a little hook to hang it, and then of course it would have 3 wires coming down that only work one season. They're designed that way so that you will buy some more later. And there's some little UL writing on here with a tag. There it is right there. But I came down here, take a look at this. I started this little Charlie Brown tree. Why did I call it a Charlie Brown tree? Because Schultz was a genius, by the way, cartoonist. And a lot of that was started because Charlie's tree was just, it was just what it was. It just needed help. And so did Charlie. And this is perspective. This could be way in the background, but you see these two peeps are standing here like this. They see this coming in, and I love drawing these little wiry peeps down here. They're just kind of standing around. Remember, I'm putting my Christmas tree in a bucket. So here it is. Let me just paint this really quickly, and I'll paint it with a Yasutoma brush. And you're going like, you can't paint that. Oh, yes, I can. Watch this. Here we go. So, all right, we're going to have the sunshine coming in this way, or the light in the house. So I'm just going to go in here and put a little water in on this side of the bulb, and a little bit up here too, just like that. You probably can't see that, but there it is. See the shine on it right there? That's where the water is. And then I'm going to go in here and let's see. This bulb is going to be purple. Why not? So go grab some of this violet and just come in. Whoa, come in seriously heavy with some of that. Look at that, okay? Boom, that was pretty awesome, okay? Notice how it just followed the water and stayed right in that area. See there? Now I've cleaned my brush out, and I'm going to just kind of dab it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Daub it if you're from the South. And then I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to take this and let it follow my damp brush over here like this, and I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to leave a holiday in this bulb, sort of like that right there. That's plenty. And it's also kind of in the shape of the bulb, so that tells me that the glass is sort of round. You want to take a flat drawing into a sphere, then learn how to shade it. That's kind of how this works. Look at that right there, okay? That's a cool little purple bulb coming in. Excuse me. I need some green. I'll go in here into my pan. I think you can. Let me get this over here. Man, I tell you what, it takes me about 4.5 seconds to make a mess, doesn't it? That's crazy. All right. The artist, the Japanese artist last night who had these brushes hung up, I loved what he was doing, but it seemed like it took him forever. And I'm going like, okay. And then I realized, well, that's not his fault. That's my fault because I'm just fast-brained. I say, like, make something happen for heaven's sakes. You've been sitting here twirling this brush around for a long time. Hang it up. I need to see some. I need to see something happen on the paper. It's like you guys feel when I'm still telling a story. You go like, would you just paint? All right, same thing. Look at this. Go in here, just dry this brush out pretty well. Almost not a dry brush, but a damp brush, and then just drag this over like so and leave a little bit of a sheen there. Now, I'm going to pick up a little more and come down this cable. Look at this. This is that cool Japanese brush. Look, or Chinese brush, whichever you want to call it. Asian brush is a good thing. The Japanese, the Chinese were fabulous at calligraphy, and they designed these brushes with that in mind so they could do their beautiful lettering. Phoebe and the folks at Yasutoma, when they do their all right, so see that? So there you go. Wow. You're going to find, you won't find these at Michael's. You won't find Yasutoma at Michael's. You may find a bamboo brush. You won't find bamboo brushes at Hobby Lobby. I have never been able to. In fact, I know Steve Green, and I don't have anything against Hobby Lobby. I think they're an amazing company, but I don't like their paint brushes. But I don't like their bamboo brushes. It's just, I don't know, there's something about them that I just don't find. They're the quality, and the ring is loose, and this pops off. And yeah, I tried them before. I found Yasutoma years ago. So there's my 2 cents on that if you're talking about that in your little conversations there. I just see pieces of it come out. So it's hard for me to get involved in a conversation I don't know anything about. So there we go. I'm painting, by the way. Okay, here we go. I'm going to grab some of this orange right here and just put a little bit of orange down in this dragonfly. I like painting dragonflies. I love their style. I think what it is I like the fact that they hover. And there's something about that that just cracks me up. I love turning my paper this way, too. There's a lot of things that I love this morning. Have you noticed? Okay, so that green is running down into that purple. Did you see that where I crossed the line? So watch this. I'm going to go in here and dry that off right there. And I'll come back and change that. All right. I actually kind of like what just happened there. I'm going to grab a little bit of water, just a damp brush, and I'm going to sweep some right into these wings. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this green paint and just go right into the wings. And then I'm going to take some of this lavender paint right here. I painted a painting last night that had lavender in it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's something I'm doing for Grit. I can't tell you anymore now, but it'll come out in January, I think, the first of the year. And it's got some lavender in it. And dang, if it didn't work pretty well, I kind of liked it. All right, so there's my dragonfly. He needs a little bit of this blue splatter in his wings right here. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. So let me go back and clean this up just a smidge right here. Grab some of this purple and pull it right back into there. And then just, now, see, I cleaned that up. Interesting, when your two colors, interesting how to make a blend with a brush. When two colors run together like that and you don't want them to, take a paper towel and just go in and clean one area out while it's still wet. And then once you stop that flow of water, remember, water, color. The color follows the water. Put the water on first and then add the color. In some cases, you can do that. If you're dry brushing, put the color on first. But most cases, I'll put the water on first. Oh, I'm still painting with this brush. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start with a little bit of light green. And I'm just going to dance down through this tree. I'm letting my pen bleed in like so. It's happening really well. I'm going to get a little bit of a darker green, maybe some olive spots. This is more of a forest green than an olive, but I like that tree right there. It's perfect. I'm done with that. Finished. Need a little rusty pot, bucket that is sitting in. There it is, a little bit of green on the earth right here. Doesn't take Dawn to do a Christmas painting. How did that spot of purple get there? I have no idea. I guess I dropped my brush. So I'm adding some extra water, and I'm going to get my paper towel, and I'm going to take some of that out like that. It's dried, so that means I'm going to go get some green gold and just cover it up, and it'll turn into brown. Yeah, and that's how you cheat as a watercolor artist. And so what if I didn't get all of it out anyway? It doesn't matter. I'm not after an award by saying, oh, you know, there's a great thing about when you're teaching school and you see artwork that students do, and you see they've just run all over the paper and they've run out of the lines, and people say, you know, the first thing that the teacher comes up and says, you've run out of the line here. You've run out of the line. You go like, did you see the dragon that I painted on the page? His tail probably swiped that paint off the line. Oh, I didn't think of that. Well, you should. You're the teacher. Am I fired up today or what? Maybe. My point is, look at the good things that people do in their art first. And yesterday, especially after yesterday, I talked about critiquing. But it's real important that we do have somebody look at it. Now, people are going to look at this and they're going to go, that doesn't even work. That's all way out of scale. Illustrative whimsical doesn't have to work. Okay? It is all out of scale. It doesn't have to be perspective. I'm not doing architectural drawing here, which I love. Some days I might want to learn to be a better draftsman, but not right now. I'm doing something else. I'm telling stories. And, all right, I got it. I know the caption on this painting right away. I ain't plugging that in. You do it, okay? How fun would that be, huh? See, if I want to cover this purple spill up over here, I just put a little bit of some more green in there, and I just put a little bit of this rusty brown in there. And then I might even emphasize the fact that I had a color purple spill by going in like this and add a little purple on this side because some shadows have purple. And now who's going to know that I made a spill? Nobody. But it's fixed. Okay. All right. So this paper's starting to buck a little bit because I'm adding a lot of water in it, and I'm just going to let this run down. You see what is happening right there? It's actually rolling downhill. You see that? And I'll turn it loose and let it roll back. And then I might just go get one of my little anvils right here and sit on it right there on that dry spot. and let it dry a little bit. If I had a heat gun or a blow dryer, if I wanted to, I could do it that way. I'm going to take a little bit of gray and just silver gray right here. This is going to be hard to do with this big old brush, but I think if I take it very carefully, I can just paint it in right there. And there's the little hook. Once the dragonfly dries, I'll come in and do some detail in his eyes. Just a couple little dots in there, maybe a little bit of a titanium white splattered right here on this bulb and also on the dragonfly. And then I think I want to come back in here with a little bit of pen right here and just come in with the edge of this. And then, I see something that would be kind of fun. Let's get some of this coppery looking and just put it right here on the blades so that they're ready to be plugged in. All right, that's a Christmas painting right there. I love it when that kind of stuff happens. Makes me laugh. Let me dry off my tabletop here. I change this paper out just about every day, and it's one of the best ideas that I've had was people put down cloth and they put down padding and towels. I'd rather have kind of a hard surface underneath what I paint with, just taste, style, but my style, my taste. But I also want something that if I get messy or if I make notes on it. So I thought, wow, Miss Rowland in my third grade class, she had a blotter on her desk. She called it the blotter. And so she would just make notes on that, and every day, cleaned it off, and I just threw mine over out there. It rips off right here. I pull it out from under this, wad it up, throw it away. I'll take any notes I've made off here if I get a phone call at the end of this show. Today, I won't be here very long. I'm on a project for a friend, leaving here with welder, drills, grinders, power hacksaws. He's doing a little remodeling, and he needed somebody to cut the railing off of his house and weld something back to it. I'm going like, I think I can do that. We'll see. I said, just because people say I'm a blacksmith doesn't mean that I can build the Titanic. And plus, I didn't do too well. Okay, here we go. There's a time and place for all styles of painting and people. There is. Here's the thing. If you're being creative, go with it. If you're being creative and you're a marketing person, go with it and understand what people need. If you're just being creative to enlighten your soul and be blessed by the fact that you're a maker, then make something. I will tell you this. I believe this to my core. When you make something, make something. Does that mean paint? Yes. Does it mean write a song? Yes. Does it mean write a poem, write a book, do memory work, journal? When you bake a pie, when you make something, broad definition of make something. When you use these tools and this tool to make something, and it somehow gets in the hands of people who know how to use it and like it and love it and talk about it, and it brings light to them, then your confidence as an artist goes before it peaks. It climbs for a while, and you go, whoa. That's what happens when you're a little kid and someone comes over and says, I have something for you, and you get those little tingles on the back of your neck where the little hair follicles stand up, and you go, oh my gosh, that was great. What was that? That was the sense of you doing something like that. That's the same feeling you should get when everybody's driving by the guy who has the sign that says, homeless. You got to think, does he really need it? Is he really thirsty? Is he pulling our leg? It's up to you. But and you can't stop for each one of them. But every now and then, if somebody crosses your path, if you get that premonition that I can make that guy's day, he gets those little cold chills, but you get them too. And that's an interesting thing about when what you make starts to serve others, even though they purchase it, even though they buy it, even though you gift it, even though it comes to them around the horn from being gifted by somebody else. Those are the things that make an amazing difference, I think, a lot of times in our work and in our art. So I love that concept of when it happens. All right. I've been painting Christmas because, well, I can't paint Thanksgiving. Somebody else painted a turkey, and I loved it, by the way. I don't love to eat them, but I love the turkey painting. Did I show you the two paintings I did yesterday? Did I leave them laying here so you could see them? You know, I finished 2 Christmas paintings yesterday. Here they are. On the show, I did this one here. I like this painting. It was a Christmas tree off to the right in the bucket. You know, it's just my style. It's just how I put Christmas trees up. It's easier. For a couple of years, I did them on Christmas tree stands. You know, a Christmas tree stand. You can kind of come in and you can do the little stand, and they're still kind of fun. And you do the little ring pot, and then you go down here and you draw a piece like this. You come down. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. And you got the little screw eyes in here, and you put the tree in there, and it immediately falls over. I just said, okay, this is an easier thing, and it fits the farm style of my roosters. And so I just put it in a bucket, and I don't worry about it. My personal Christmas tree stand, I made it over 25 years ago. And it works. And I just put it into the tree, and boom, I'm done. Walk away. Okay? All right, so this is a Christmas tree. Here's a little peep standing out here. And here is the bucket full of all the decorations. Here's the other 2 peeps. They're up on the stand here, and they're getting ready to leap onto the lever, which is set in a fulcrum. Looks like a stick, you know, a stick in the side of the. I did this on the show, so I didn't go back and do all my little detail pieces, which I'll do. There's a couple nails sticking out. You know, there's a nail here. My dad was such a stickler, no pun intended, about making sure that we picked up all the bent nails. Now I just put them in everything. He's in heaven, so I can just do that, and it's hilarious. But I'm really a stickler too. If we're working on a project, to pull those nails. Don't just bend them over, pull them out. You know. So step on a nail one time, and you won't forget it. All right. So this is the deal here where. They say, you sure? And he goes, yep. Mom says all Dad does is throw it on the tree, you know. So my wife has said that to me. Yaya said, are you just putting all those on there like without a rhythm? And so she says, look, squint and get back and see where they are. See? Mm-hmm. That's where art comes from. You get and you squint. Here's the other one I did yesterday. I painted the tree on the left-hand side, my left, and I did the one here that's kind of holding the bucket. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roos, 7 little peeps. They get a little smaller. And then there's a oops. And you can see what's happened here. The whole place is a blue bulb, a terracotta, a tardy turquoise bulb, a red bulb, and it says oops. And there's a question mark. It says oops. You drop one more and we're hanging you up there till Christmas Eve. Okay. So what did you have to say when you had glass balls that went on the tree? Ooh, oh, careful, 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 careful. This one was great grandmother's. Okay. So there's my 2 Christmas paintings. I'll probably throw those out there inexpensively. Those can go into somebody's Christmas pile. This is one of my favorite Christmas paintings. I do this quite often. I've done it the last several years. It's one of my favorite ones to paint. And the saying just came from me one day many years ago. Pat, I have to share your quote. We had a homeless gentleman stood on a specific corner of the weekends just as people were coming off the highway. One day we were in Whole Foods and he was there with a bottle of wine and a platter of charcuterie. It is true. So you have to. So I'm not saying judge your audience, but here's the thing. Look at it like this. Okay, I gave the guy a 1. Maybe I gave him a 5. Maybe I handed him a $20 bill. And you can say, I would walk up then and say, I just helped you eat well tonight. Enjoy it because you're done with me. And one day I stopped and a man said, hey, I need some money for food. And I said, I got an idea. I got 20 minutes. Let's go and I'll take you right over there and buy you a hamburger. And he goes, oh, no. I don't really want a hamburger. I said, wait, you said you just wanted food. And he realized, oh my gosh. I said, I bet you're asking me for money to just go drink it up. I can't do that, man. So change your sign or change your heart. And so I just left him. And so I'm that guy who talks to people. I'm that guy, if a telemarketer calls me, what do I say? What do you say? You go, oh, come on, stop calling me. You know what I do? I go, ready for this? I did it 4 times yesterday. 4. once I had we were driving and I had in my in ears because I knew a call was coming in, and I saw it and it said potential spam. And I go, you've reached WROO. Hey, you're the third caller to be on the air. The question of the day is just how do you celebrate life? And before I even get to that last part, they're gone. And then they take me off their list because they go, we just called a radio station. And so I do that all the time. But here's the thing. If I give the guy $5 and he wastes it, I still listen to my heart. So that's how I get around that. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Okay. And yeah, you see the ones that say that, hey, I'm paying for my wife's Porsche. I've seen those too. I just won't beer. I love it. All right, here we go. I got to paint you a Christmas story. Got to start a little music, and let's do it right here. Boom. Way up here in the corner, this is one of my favorite paintings that I do. Way up here in the corner is this little stable. Thought I started some music. Maybe I didn't. Little stable up here, just some little figures, and maybe there's a little palm tree outside the stable. You ever look up the longitude and latitude of Israel? It's pretty fascinating, actually. When we were doing this big program down in Florida called the Bethlehem Visit, we had 300 cast and 50-something animals, 3 camels I bring in from Circus World, South Florida. Really fascinating thing. And one day somebody said, I don't think there are palm trees where, the Christmas story takes place, And I said, really? Look up the longitude and latitude. And you go across the map and you go, Israel, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Right on the same degree. It's pretty fascinating. Some of the greenery was all just the same. And it blew people's minds. It go, no way that really happened. Yeah. So, all right, so this is one of my favorite Christmas pieces right here. Just throw the earth down here. And so I got the Roo. He's standing here like this. I love sketching these roofs that are bending down talking to kids. This is the time that you need to stop. When a kid stops you on the street, or maybe with your grandkids, don't just, I'm 6'5", so when little kids run up and they're looking at me, they're sort of looking at my watch pocket, they're going like, hey, Roo? And I'm going like, yeah. I drop down, and it's hard for me to drop down on my knees these days, especially today because I'm going to the chiropractor because my back is out. But I drop down on one knee and I look them in the eye and I say, yeah, tell me something about Christmas that you love. Man, they start talking about it and I go, really? And first they do like everybody else. They tell me what they want. They tell me what they think they ought to have. And I'll ask them what Christmas is about. All right, so there's a great little sketch right there. See that? That's all I have to do to it. Now I'm just going to take this same brush. I'm still painting with a big brush this morning just because I want to, and because I can. And I think I'm going to throw a little bit of, water in here. Wake this paint up. All right, so we'll just make a little bit of water to let things just wake up a little bit. Hey, wanted some lamp black just in this tail. And I wanted a little bit of blue. I always love a little blue and black in there, and a touch of green this morning, just to add a touch of color to that rooster tail. And then I want to go ahead and get my yellow in here, which is just a little different for me this morning. There it is right there, following the water. And then on this, I don't want to put water up in there because I want this to be pretty tight. So I'm just taking it, I'm rolling my brush here. Let me get it over here. I'm rolling my brush very carefully just in this red ink. Just rolling it back and forth like this, and I'm trying to think about sharpening the brush. I know this sounds crazy, but sometimes I want things to be brushed, and I want the mental attitude of going in the right direction. Like when you saw me paint that bulb a minute ago, okay? When you saw me paint that bulb a minute ago, you saw me paint with some purple, and I painted in this direction. Why? Well, because I feel like the glass was probably spun in that direction. And so I wanted that to happen that way. So I'm painting this way. Why am I adding some right now? Because that water stained where it ran downhill. And that's okay, but look at this. I'm showing those marks in there, and it's giving me more of that swirl. And yeah, sometimes I go back when the paint dries and I add just a touch more, just for effect. Look, and we'll do the same thing right here. Just give it a little deeper shadow. Oh man, I like that. All right, I gotta put this somewhere so it'll dry again. Boom. All right. Hey, when you're an artist, you got to work with all the facets of it here. There's a little, this is a little French gray. This rooster's got a little French gray. He's got to have a little terry-tardy turquoise right in there, just for the part of it, because he's the piece of color in this painting. Everything else, I should have painted up here first, but I wanted to leave that just as, and so I'll make it a little more difficult on myself, but I wanted that to be the reveal here, just to let you see that come alive. And putting these peeps down here, I've got a little bit of a yellow orange and a little bit of French gray mixed right here. And that's going to be my leg color for these roos. That's just the color that over the years I decided that I wanted. There's a piece of orange in this tail feathers right there. I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to scratch out a little bit of earth here. Do this by doing hatch marks this way. Hatching. Hey, that's a chicken word, hatching. And then I'm just going to take some water in my brush and just let that pen bleed a little bit. And notice I'm acting on this kind of quickly while before the ink dries on the page. I want to touch a little bit of green in there just to give it a little bit of that green. And I want a little bit of green going up the hill, but not much. Not much, because it's going to turn a little bit of dirty brown as it goes on up the hill here. And come in a little bit more like this. Anyway, I hope you got great Thanksgiving plans. I hope you're doing super with that. Everything's coming together. Sepia. I want a little bit of sepia. I want a little bit of French gray in that. There we go. Look at that. That softened it right up. I reached over there and just touched the end of my brush in that French gray and brought it in, coming in like this. I think this little tree is just a little bit of light. And why would you see light there? I'll tell you why. It's because there's going to be some light turned on here in a minute. There's a little bit right there. And so there you have the little nativity up there. Now watch this. I can't see the whole star because it's too low in the sky. So I'm just going to come down with a little bit of some bright light here. And that's way too much. So I'm going to come down with a little less bright light. And then I'm just going to spring this out like this. And I'm using a brush that this is hard to do with, but if it's all I had, then this is what I'd be doing. Look at that. Got a little bit going there. I'm going to turn it again like this, upside down. This is easy for me to pull this brush like this. See that? So I'm pulling it across like this. Pulling it across like this. The reason I don't nail my paper down is I love it when artists turn the thing upside down and go, dadgummit, let me get on the other side of this thing. And so I think that's kind of a fun way to be. I want to grab some little bit of this yellow and just come in right here in the middle. Boom. I want a little bit of light coming out and also coming across the ground this way here like this. So I've got this whole hillside that's kind of brown and gray and maybe a little dark shadows coming back this way, kicked out from what's there. And then, but you see something's going on up there, okay? Now, I can come in and change that a little bit with some pins. I can add some characters in there with just a little bit of a pin mark. Look at this right here. There's a little manger right there. I love to take my fountain pen and just start to play it a little bit inside the inside that wet ink. It really is kind of a fun way to treat watercolor. People say, well, that's ink. That's not watercolor. And you go like, well, you're like being like the teacher that said, hey, you ran out of the lines. Any color goes, any color goes. If it works, Wilbur, fly the plane. Hey, something I want to show you this morning while I let this dry for just 1 second. It's on my brain and I want to grab a photo and show you. John Robert Small has got a fun little event coming up, and some of you are interested in it, I know. And so I want you to see the picture of my kitchen table. Here it is right here. Take a look. Boom. I'm waiting. There it is right there. Okay, if you look, this is a parquet table. And if you look straight across, you see, in fact, you see a little shepherd boy there. He stays out all year round, by the way. And there is a painting right above the little shepherd boy's head by that silver vase that has those little cactus in it. And that is one of the coffee cups that sits on my table all of the time. And this painting will probably be, I don't think I'll ever frame this painting. I think it's just going to find its home. Let me show you one more close picture of it here. One more second. Hold on. That's another bigger shot. Here's a closer shot. There is a book that I'm reading there. Here it is right here. Boom. There it is. That's the Maine lobster book. That's lobster recipes, which we just ordered lobster yesterday. We don't do a turkey. We do bisque. The kids want bisque. And there's only my daughter and her husband's coming over. And that cup that you see in that picture above the lamb's head and the shepherd's head, that is an original 8x8 watercolor from John Robert Small. And he's getting ready to do an acrylic workshop. So if you're interested in that, ride herd on that. It's 5 minutes to go before I go heading off this morning. I want you to see those photos because I appreciate John being a part of this show. Just like several of you who are doing creative things for people. I know Pat and a couple of folks have been on for a while, and I know Chris Whitaker has done some stuff. Listen, and Jason does the inspiration. More power to you people. When you make things, get it out there. That's what this show is about. Thank you for loving the show. Thank you for liking it. I'm going to draw a couple names, or one name right now, and so I'm scrolling all the way back up to all of my comments. Holy smokes. A lot of comments on the show this morning, but thanks for hitting the little heart button, liking the show. Thanks for sharing my show. Thanks for being on the show. Here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm scrolling up, I'm scrolling down, and I do this without looking. I'll go down, I'll let it go, I'll spin it back off. The mouse pad goes up and down. The names roll. I can't see where they're going. I will look at 3 names, boom, boom, and I'm going to take, ready for this? I'm going to take the bottom one this time. So I get 3 names. The first 3 names I see when they come up on the screen, it's still, wait, I missed the window. I'm still scrolling in and out of the window. So the names are going up, the names are going down. So it doesn't matter when you post it, early in the show, late in the show, somewhere in the middle, I'm just going to let it roll. And then I'm going to turn 1, 2, 3, boom. I'm going to take 3 names. And here it is right here. The third name is Jeanette Seal. Jeanette Seal. Jeanettasseal. Jeanette Seal. You have a grizzly bear on your photo. Whoa, you have a comment too that says, have a collection of old ruse from Grit. Oh my gosh, really? All right, Jeanette, you have just won 2 brushes. Here's what you have to do. Send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com. Roodoodles@gmail.com. Send me that, and I will give your name to the folks at Cheap Joe's, and it'll take them a little while because it's processed in. You're going to get a number 1 and a number 3 Yasutoma bamboo brush. They'll come to you just in a cool little bag, and with $1,000 wrapped around the handle of each one. Not true. Okay. All right, so here's, just made that last part up. In fact, I need that brush again. What do I do with it? All right, so here we go. Just a little more brown in here, a little more, there's a great color down here that I use sometimes for no other reason. Here it is. I don't even know what color this is in my palette. It came with this palette, so it's probably Van Gogh. It's almost like a straw color, see it? It's kind of a yellow straw, but it's a perfect color for the earth in Israel. Trust me, been there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to finish the show here in 2 minutes, and I got to tell you a little bit of a story that has to do with Israel. All right. So now I want some gray first. I want a little bit of gray, just kind of some. There's a little too much, but watch this. When I throw it in here like this, I want that sky up there just to be a little bit of a blue-gray like this, and maybe on this side right here, just right in there like that. And then I have it. And the comment, the caption on this is, tell us the story again where they watch over their flocks by night. And I'll sign it. Tell us the story where they watch over their flocks by night. And I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll post those out. One of my favorite Christmas paintings that I painted, and it came to me one day, the flocks. Oh, it's the chickens. And did the chickens get into a little spat, or were they there first? Or was it the sheep and the shepherds? And all right. Hey, be thankful at Thanksgiving. Be thankful all the time. So I'm in Israel with some friends, and I'm there with the priest. I may have told you the story before because I'm running out of stories, I think. I'm there with a bunch of folks, and we're traveling with some rabbis and some priests and some people from Ethiopia, and we're there, and we're there for the first night. And so one of the priests, one of the rabbis, they look around and they see me, and I'm cutting up and being myself. And one of them says, let's be thankful for the food. And someone else from our group said, yes, someone bless the food. And they pointed to me, and I stood up, and he said, what'd you say? And someone said, well, I asked him to bless the food. And he said, stop. Man, the place got quiet. He said, you can't bless the food. This is not your job. The food was blessed when the people turned the ground, plowed, de-rocked it, made rows, put the seeds in the earth. The food was blessed. The food was blessed when the rains fell. And the food was blessed when the seed burst open and it started to grow. The food was blessed when it produced fruit. The food was blessed when people harvested the fruit and brought it in. It was blessed when hands took it and cleaned it and cooked it. It was blessed when people put it in serving vessels and brought it to the table. This food has been blessed since God caused the light and the dark to make the seeds grow. So you really can't bless it. All you can do is say, thank you for it. It changed my head, my heart, my thinking about blessing something. So I say be blessed, but I really can't do that. I just say thank you. So I am grateful for you guys. I am thankful for you guys. And yes, I am blessed because of you guys. So have a blessed, I didn't have anything to do with it, holiday by being thankful. Have a blessed time with your family by being thankful. And do all you can do to give thanks to someone. Take a sip of your coffee or your tea right now, your cuppa, and just send somebody out a little note today and say, I'm thankful for you. Appreciate you guys. I will, Lord willing, see you here on Saturday after a Thanksgiving meal. Turkey or no turkey, I'm thankful. Just gather with friends.